Hey guys, it's Tiggy Maximus again with Tiggy Maximus Talks on Spotify and YouTube. And this is episode 221, I think. Thank you guys for following, subscribing to the podcast, listening, watching the podcast, spreading the news about the podcast to your family and friends and everyone in between. Also, thank you for donating to the podcast. There is a link on my Spotify episode where it allows you to donate to the podcast. Follow that link. It gives you a chance to donate to the podcast. Any amount is appreciated. Same link also you can find if you copy and paste the link on the YouTube episode, and it's on the top line. And if you follow that link, it will take you to the Spotify one, and it will allow you to then donate to the podcast. Again, anything's appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy these episodes. On this episode 221, I'm going to talk about two comedy shows. One was at the Mixed Grounds Coffee in North Park, and your headliner was Kash Habib, Cash Comedy. The other show was actually the day after. It was at the Laugh Factory with Victor Paz and I believe there was Shane Chase. And your headliner is Dave Burleigh, and gotta say, both shows are pretty good. Let's start with the Friday show at the Mixed Grounds Coffee. It's a nice little spot for a comedy show, and it's a wide open space actually. On one side, you have the lobby, and you basically can have a stage set up there. It's already pretty much all set up, and to your left of the stage, you got a coffee shop. You can serve some wine, some alcohol, get some food, and then all the way to your right of the stage, you got the mailboxes for the entire apartment complex. You get to see people pick up their mail and stuff in their little mailbox slots. So it's kind of intimate. Nice lighting. It's not too bright for the people watching. So, and of course, you just want the lights on the stage, the people in the spotlight, telling their stories, telling their jokes. So great spot, Cash. So the show started with host Bob Hansen. Great guy. I like the fact that he hosted because it allows Cash to kind of focus on just being a headliner. So Bob told his usual jokes. He has his kicks, his red boots, always a signature style of his. Now, I did notice with this crowd and with Bob hosting, gotta say, he did get some jokes, he got some laughs in, but the vibe that I was starting to feel was that the crowd was kind of into it, but not really into his set. So throughout the whole time, um, but it's a hard spot to be in when you're hosting. So I've seen Bob before, but this time on this night, I believe it was, um, April 4th, actually. Yeah, April 4th, Friday night. And I want to say Bob was 7.8 out of 10. Um, uh, I do remember him doing his signature talking fast without taking a breath. for a lot of things that he was saying for this particular maybe 15-second sequence. That might have been the only thing I remembered, and then that was very impressive. So I got some um, laughs and applause. But overall, most of his jokes, how it turned out, it just kind of felt like a 7.8 out of 10 for him. Next, we have Austin Train. Guy did all right, actually. Talked about autism. Talked about Dayton, his grandpa. Uh, I did notice he had a couple new jokes in there. Um, and but he got the about more than half of the crowd kind of really into his set. Um, I kind of felt that he was an 8.5 out of 10. And then we got Char Rampton. I believe she's getting more popular and doing more stuff between San Diego and LA and Irvine, OC. So I'm actually glad for her for that. Um, but she is, again, kind of intense. And I kind of felt that the crowd was kind of into it, but not so much into it. Um, there was some crowd work, but I don't know if it just kind of flowed that well with her set. It might have worked on different crowds, but this particular crowd, I felt like the crowd was kind of chill for her set. Um, she always does have her fun babysitting bit, and and her whole cubicle joke. Um, but I kind of felt crowd was crowd was just not vibing with her set. So maybe it was just like just that particular crowd. I just don't really kind of get it. I mean, I've seen her. I get it. I liked it, but the crowd in front of me just, eh, I want to say she was probably a 7.8 out of 10. Then we got Dusty Tunnel, and he does love talking about plumbers and therapists, and Murray talked about his dog, and then Dayton, and something about waffle stomping. So, I mean, he did kind of start off a little bit slow and was kind of quiet at first, but after a couple of minutes, it kind of picked up. But it kind of came back down after a little while. Um, and, it's kind of a mix of chill vibes and some laughter, but um, I would say Dusty Tunnel was probably an 8 out of 10. And then we come to Kash Habib, our headliner. For the first show that he was going to do at this Mixed Grounds Coffee, why not headline your own show? So I noticed he had some good stuff, new stuff in his material this time. And then I saw he had some old material, which still works, talking about ethnicity and stuff, and Venmo, um, languages. Um, he did a little crowd work, um, and I would say about half the stuff that he was saying on stage got some good laughs, and maybe the other half got some laughs, but not like less than half the crowd was kind of into the other parts of his set. So, um, and overall, I liked it. and I was kind of in tune to see what he had, and I'm glad that the crowd liked, at least more than half of his set. I can hear the laughter in the crowd, and it's kind of cool because he does kind of mix some crowd work with his jokes, so that's always a good balance to have when you're doing comedy. So I would say Cash was probably 8.6 out of 10. So I can't wait to go back again, see what kind of lineup he has for the next few shows, and you'll probably see me there at the Mixed Grounds Coffee Shop in North Park on 30th Street. The other show I went to, Laugh Factory. Now, granted, I usually don't go to Laugh Factory unless I'm invited. Um, there's something about it. Um, they do a two-item minimum. Um, I just did ginger beer and a bottle of water. My friend Christy Masutani actually told me about the show. The thing is, I was not gonna go at first because I was gonna focus on watching the Duke and Houston basketball game, the Final Four semifinals. But I was gonna once I found out about the show, I was invited to go to the show, and you know what? I'll watch the game somewhere close by. So I actually am going to, I think it was called Taste and Thirst or Thirst and Taste Sports Bar off of 4th Avenue in downtown San Diego. And that's just basically about a block away from the Laugh Factory. So not too much of a walk, planned it out pretty well. I had to leave at the beginning of the second half, and Duke was winning the game, by the way. I'll get back to that later. Um, but yeah, the show was produced by Victor Paz and Shane Chase, so it's part of Cackles. And this was done at the Laugh Factory, so kudos. Um, and of course, in the crowd, I got to see Mimi Harris, always a good friend. I got to see Shane Chase, got front row seats, got to sit right next to him. Got to meet two of his buddies, two of his comedy buddies. And the show started with Victor Paz. He started off with a bang. He had some fun jokes like Korean barbecue and dating. Um, Also, grown up poor, that kind of stuff. Um, so honestly, he had some really good jokes, and the crowd that was there, they really liked what he had. I would say he was easily an 8.6 out of 10. Um, and then I believe the next person that was up was Pacey McMillan. I've seen him at a lot of open mics, and he's doing stuff around town, and that's awesome. And I guess he talked about his appearance during his set, um, and, and he did get some good laughs with the crowd. Um, and then there were some parts where I guess there were a few people that laughed at some parts of his jokes, but for the most part, at least half of it said he got half the crowd actually laughing, so that's always good. So I gotta say, Pacey was probably 8.4 out of 10. Um, it's cool because I actually got to see Pacey at a few events. I actually did get to see him at the AEW event at the Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. It's kind of cool. He said he brought his brother with him, so um, what's cool is that WWE is actually going to come to San Diego for Survivor Series in November. So I can't wait to see when that's going to come out. Whenever tickets are going to be sold, I plan on going. It'd be kind of cool to see a Survivor Series event there. Who knows? It might be at Snapdragon Stadium, or it could be at Sports Arena, Pachanga Sports Arena. Um, Next up, we have Chrissy Masutani. Uh, she owns up to the fact that she's flat chested. um, and then she talks about dating and stuff and who she dates. She talks about how she can't. It'll be hard for her to date a black guy, um, and she has her reasons why. And what was funny was that her fear of OnlyFans, not because of that she has an OnlyFans, but she's, talks about like basically, you know, the thing about OnlyFans is that you're supposed to have fans, but she's worried that, you know, not a lot of people might not watch or subscribe. So I thought that was kind of funny, honestly. Um, and uh, yeah, and she kind of talks about her mom, and then just I liked how she kind of imitates her mom's voice, so that's always cool. And but I've always noticed that Christy half the time like looks up to the sky, but a lot of other times like she will look into the ground, but then like you know she she's very animated on the stage, so whether she's looking at the crowd or she's looking at the sky, the ceiling, and then she just kind of moves her body around and stuff. Um, and I don't know if I heard from uh I don't know if it was her or someone else about how she should talk less. I don't know. Maybe maybe someone else, or it could be hers. Um, I would say Chrissy Masitani. Um, she was an uh, 8.5 out of 10. Um, I did notice she had a couple of new jokes in there too, so that's always cool. Um, and then next person to go up was Colton Harpy. Hadn't seen the guy for a long time, and like the first half or a little more than half of his set started off basically with crowd work, and uh, that was just hilarious. His crowd work was pretty awesome, and just got to talking to the ladies and this one, I guess, is like a husband and wife with their daughter and coworkers or something, and kind of pointed out who was who, how does everybody relate to each other, and they were very vocal, and I guess there was this one couple that was sitting behind me, more to my left, um, and then I guess got to find out there was this two people, two friends. Apparently, one was a lesbian and she's a fitness trainer, and the other guy was, I guess, a client of hers, and they're best friends. But he's straight, but he's straight, but she's a lesbian. So, um, so it was kind of awesome getting to know these people that Colton Harpy was able to kind of target and get to have a convo with them, and it was really fun. It was a lot of funny moments there, and he did tell some good jokes. He has some new stuff. Talked about the grocery store. Talked about his girlfriend. Um, some good classics, and then he has some new jokes. So, and he had the crowd laughing quite a bit for most out throughout his set. So he was already like a 9 out of 10, honestly. Great work by Colton. Always great to see him too, and I'm glad that he's touring around actually. So it's always good. And then we got our headliner, and I'm glad I went to this show because Dave Burleigh was super hilarious. Um, he talked about being from Vegas, how he's not married, doesn't have kids, Talks talk about touring around. Um, and he mentioned he had a gambling habit or gambling or he was a yeah he had a gambling habit and he went to Gamblers Anonymous, but then kind of made a joke about it. That was kind of funny because it made sense. And then off all the stuff, talking about dating and stuff, how he got with an older lady, like a cougar, in relation to him, so much older than him. And I guess the lady's name was Dolores. So, um, yeah, he had a lot of stories mixed in with his jokes, and I really enjoyed his set. The crowd was laughing throughout the whole, and honestly, he did some great crowd work, especially kind of like referencing stuff like Blockbuster, VHS, VHS tapes, um, rewinding, um, yeah. So it was kind of it was fun listening to his jokes and his stories, and I gotta say, um, Dave Burleigh was a 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed his set, and I got to talk to him about the show. And apparently, he has decks of cards which have um, a special game apparently that you play, and I guess um, yeah, um, the game has some very interesting rules actually, and the stuff that's on the cards. So he said that he's selling those decks of cards for like $20 or two for 40, which is kind of funny because usually when you offer a bundle, you're supposed to make it less per item, but he still just multiplied by two. That was kind of funny. But overall, 9.5 for Dave Burleigh. Can't wait to see this guy again. And apparently he was in the finals of America's Got Talent, and yeah, the guy just travels around a lot, been to a lot of cities and countries. So um, actually, was kind of cool was that I guess um, Dave had seen Mimi in the front row and said that Mimi reminds him of someone that he used to know. Um, like, I'm guessing someone he used to date, maybe, because of the whole nose piercings and stuff. Um, yeah, so that was kind of fun. Overall, great show by Victor. Um, and can't wait to see another show like that again. So I guess they're doing a show like that pretty frequently, and it does seem like Shane and Victor have like a lot of contact, so they do great work together. So honestly, I'm kind of glad to get to know those two, and getting to know like all these other comics because a lot of great people in the comedy industry. So, um, so since I'm on here, I'll talk a little bit about March Madness, those sports. Um, so I needed two things to happen during the Final Four. One, I needed Florida to beat Auburn, which actually happened. Florida beat Auburn 79-73, so that part was done, and that was the first game of two of the Final Four. So I'm on my way of winning some bracket groups because of that. The other part was Duke had to beat Houston, and Duke had to beat Florida. If those three parts happen, I would have won all the money for all my bracket groups because I am superior when it comes to March Madness. I always pick Duke. So unfortunately, even though I got the Florida result, but Duke was ahead of Houston for the most part in that game. And I don't know why, but Houston came back and their defense and some blunders by Duke just compounded into Houston coming back and um, beat Duke 70-67. Mind you, Duke was ahead 67-61 with 38 seconds left in the game. All I remembered seeing in that last like 2 minutes was Houston hit a three, cut the lead to three. Duke didn't score on the next possession because I think they had a hard time getting the ball in, and Houston must have intercepted the ball, shot the ball, missed it, but someone was there from Houston to rebound the ball and dunked it in. So now it's 67-66. Duke gets the ball in, gets fouled. They get 2 free throws, but it's 1-1. So you have to make the first one to get to the second one. Problem was Duke missed the first one. And so Houston gets the ball, and then they set up a play, and Houston makes 2 free throws on their next possession. So it's 68-67, and Duke gets the ball up the court, calls a timeout, set up a play. Cooper Flagg, who's going to be the projected number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft in June, he gets the ball, tries to do a fadeaway, but his shot was short, and Houston gets the ball, and they get fouled, make 2 more free throws. Now they're up to 70-67. Duke is now throwing the ball down the court. There's a lot of hands on the ball, and time is about to run out. And Duke does get like possession of the ball, but the guy who got possession of the ball for Duke, he ends up turning around and just chucking the ball up towards the basket, but he overshot the backboard. So time runs out. Houston wins 70-67, and Houston gets to play Florida. And Duke loses in the Final Four once again. And my bracket doesn't get any more points, so I lose out on the money. So Houston plays Florida for the championship, and wow, great game. Houston and Florida were playing it close, and then Houston started to pull away. But Florida got back in the game in the second half, and it came down to like the last minute, and Florida was up 65-63, and Houston got the ball with like 15 seconds to go. So they got the ball, called a timeout, I think, and set up a play. But Houston doesn't get the shot off because the shooter was stifled, and as he was trying to go for a shot at the time he did, it was with 5 or 7 seconds left in the game. But the thing is, because he didn't get a full motion into a shot, but because the ball left his hand, it's considered to be, if he was the first one to touch it, it'll be like a travel or self-pass. So Houston, whoever shot the ball, needed to come around, get the ball first before the shooter does, and also do it before the defender gets the ball. But not everybody is now scrambling to get to the ball, and what do you know? Time runs out. No real shot was taken by Houston, and Florida wins the national championship, their 3rd championship. And apparently, Houston is 0-3 in 0-3 in national championship finals. That kind of sucks. But yeah, it was a good game. It was an awesome Final Four, actually. All 3 games did pretty well. It made everybody tune in, including myself. Oh yeah, Lakers are in the 3rd seed in the Western Conference in the NBA playoff picture. The way things are going, there's 2 games left. One against Houston Rockets on Friday, and one more against the Portland Trailblazers to close out the season. And if they win both games or one of the 2 games, well, the Lakers will clinch the 3 seed and will play whoever comes out as a 6th seed, and in the semifinals of the Western Conference playoff picture, I would imagine Rockets of the 2 seed will play the number 3 seed Lakers. So cross my fingers the Lakers do well and get their chemistry going and make a run for the playoffs and for the NBA championship. Padres did pretty well. They took 2 out of 3 from the Athletics, but they lost 2 out of 3 to the Chicago Cubs, and that now puts the Padres at 10-3. So that puts the Padres, I think, in first place. I think in the National League West Division. So they're doing pretty well. Although we lost Jackson Merrill to the disabled list, and Jake Cronenworth, I think he got hurt. Well, Kyle Hart got lit up. Dylan Cease didn't do too well. Randy Vasquez did all right. So, it wasn't too bad. But it's a long season. So we'll see how far this team can go. Hopefully the Padres can win the World Series, but one game at a time. Oh, and Monday, April 14th, the Padres are playing the Chicago Cubs at Petco Park, and apparently there's an Aloha Hawaiian shirt giveaway. I think I might go to that game. So, anywho, guys, this Saturday it's UFC 314. A lot of big fights on that one. Can't wait to see that fight, on that fight card, and can't wait to see where am I going to actually watch the fights. Actually, might try a new spot or go to a good oldie one. So we'll see. I'll talk more about UFC 314 on my next episode. Maybe later this week. Maybe Friday. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Stay tuned, guys. That's it for me, guys. Yeah, I think we covered it. Lakers, Padres, March Madness, NCAA tournament. And one more thing. San Diego FC defeated the Seattle Sounders 3-0. Great victory by the San Diego Football Club. So that means that San Diego FC has 14 points, and I think they're number 2 in the Western Conference of the Major League Soccer. So San Diego FC is doing a great job. Anywho, that's it for me, guys. You know the saying goes, boom. Tiggy Maximus, signing off. All right, there, guys. Baby. There, guys.